And you. Sequence. Okay, so we're reading Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Lila, chapter 7, entitled Lord Chaitanya in 5 Features. I'm starting today from text 16. Okay, everybody with me?
Yep.
All right. Text 16. Shivasadi Jatukoti Koti Bhaktagan Shuddha Bhakta Tattva Madhya Tasabar Ganan. There are innumerable pure devotees of the Lord, headed by Shivas Thakur, who are known as unalloyed devotees. What does the word unalloyed mean? Anybody? Where does it come from?
Like without any mixture of other things.
Right, right. And where is it usually used? What industry?
Metallurgy.
Metallurgy. Okay, so steel industry usually uses that. And how did this term become popular in ISKCON?
Because ISKCON is only worshipping on the Krishna.
No. How did it become popular? This word, how did it become popular in ISKCON? Like they could say pure devotees. Okay, so yes. So Saraswati Prabhupada uses. Prabhupada was one day walking in New York and he saw a big sign, alloyed steels was the big sign he saw. It's okay, all the devotees, pure devotees are now unalloyed devotees. I started using that term. So that's how it came about in ISKCON.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So text 17. Gadadhar Pandit Adi Prabhur Shakti Avatar Antarang Bhaktakari Ganan Jahar. So we talked about Shivas Pandit or Shivas Thakur. And who was in previous birth? Or should I say expansion of?
Extension of Radharani is Gadadhar.
No. Shivas.
Energy. These are the energy.
Who was the expansion of Shivas?
Is it Narad Muni?
Yes, it is Narad Muni.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So now, translation 17. The devotees headed by Gadadhar Pandit are to be considered incarnations of the internal potency of the Lord. They are confidential devotees engaged in the service of the Lord. So, internal potency Yog Maya personified is Radharani. The expansion of Radharani is Gadadhar Pandit. Okay. So, they are known as confidential devotees. So, note the two words. Confidential devotees, Gadadhar Pandit is example. Unalloyed devotees, Shivas Thakur is example. So, there are two different words used for two different devotees. So, we'll talk about that, okay? All right, so let's read the purport. Who wants to read the purport?
I can read, Prabhu.
Please go ahead.
In connection with verses 16 and 17, Sri Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur explains in his Anubhashya, there are specific symptoms by which the internal devotees and the unalloyed or pure devotees are to be known. All unalloyed devotees are Shakti Tattvas or potencies of the Lord. Some of them are situated in conjugal love and others in parental affection, fraternity, and servitude. Certainly, all of them are devotees, but by making a comparative study, it is found that the devotees or potencies who are engaged in conjugal love are better situated than the others. Thus, devotees who are in a relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead in conjugal love are considered to be the most confidential devotees of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Those who engage in the service of Lord Nityananda Prabhu and Lord Advaita Prabhu generally have relationship of paternal love, fraternity, servitude, and neutrality. When such devotees develop great attachment for Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they too become situated within the intimate circle of devotees in conjugal love. This gradual development of devotional service is described by Sri Narottam Das Thakur as follows.
Okay, thank you. So, they're talking about two types of devotees, unalloyed devotees and confidential devotees. They're both pure, don't get it wrong. They're both pure, but there's a difference they're trying to explain. Also, this sentence here, this is all unalloyed devotees are Shakti Tattvas. So do not get confused. It's basically referring to Jiva Tattva. So we are marginal potencies. We are also Shakti Tattva, but not in the sense of internal or external potency. Okay, so we'll make sure nobody gets confused on that. Okay, so then he's saying these devotees can be in any of the five mellows, right? Shantaras, Dasyaras, Saksharas, Vatsalyaras, and Madhuriras. They can be any of the five. And they're saying that in the first four, which is the neutrality, servitorship, friendship, and parenthood, they are usually known as unalloyed pure devotees. Okay, are you with me so far? But those who go beyond that to the Madhurya rasa or conjugal mood, they are known as internal devotees. So people like Swarup Damodar Goswami, Ramananda Rai, by virtue of being Lalita Sakhi, Vishakha Sakhi, they were in the conjugal mood. Therefore, they're known as confidential devotees. And the discussion Lord Chaitanya would have with them was of a different nature than he would have with other devotees like Srivas Pandit or others who are pure devotees. Okay, are you clear on that? I see some puzzled expression, so not clear, ask me a question.
If you can please elaborate, Prabhuji.
Okay, so once again, you can be a devotee can be in any of the five mellows. Is that clear?
Yes.
And what Prabhupada is saying is that in the first four mellows, those who are in the first four mellows, they're known as pure unalloyed devotees. But those who transcend these four and become in the Madhurya rasa or conjugal mood, they're known as confidential devotees. So if you remember Gopi Geet, one of the verses is that we recall the confidential conversations we had, right? So that's the confidential conversation that Lord would not have with other devotees. Okay, so same thing with Lord Chaitanya. There were discussions that he would have with Swarup Damodar Goswami, Ramananda Raj, that he would not have with anybody else. They were confidential devotees. Okay. Similarly, people like Rupa Goswami, other Goswamis, they understood the mood of Lord Chaitanya the way that nobody else did, because they were also in the conjugal mood. Okay. We have so many other names of the associates of Lord Chaitanya. They are pure devotees, but not in the conjugal mood. So they are unalloyed devotees. Swarup Damodar, Ravandra, they are confidential devotees. Okay, Devjan, is that little clearer?
Yes, Prabhuji.
So then Prabhupada is talking about how you progress from neutrality to friendship, to servitorship, to friendship, to parental, and to madhurya. So this particular bhajan that Narottama Thakur written explains that. Anybody who knows how to sing this? Or is anyone bold enough to try it?
Prabhuji, I have a question.
Okay.
So, does that mean that Madhurya Ras, it is the like epitome, like
Highest.
highest highest form of bhakti?
Yeah, that's correct. Highest mellow. And it includes the other four.
Okay.
If you have conjugal, you already have neutrality, servitorship, friendship, and the parental.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So again, anybody knows how to sing this one? Otherwise, just read it. Okay. Who wants to go ahead? Just read it. That's okay.
I can try, Prabhuji.
Try it. Yeah. Try it in your Bengali accent, so I can really appreciate this.
গৌরাঙ্গ বলিতে হবে পুলক শরীর হরি হরি বলিতে নয়নে ভাবে নির আরো কবে নিতাই চন্দ করুণা করিবে, সংসার বাসনা মোরা কবে তুচ্ছ হবে, বিষয় ছাড়িয়া কবে সুধা হবে মন, কবে হম হিরো বসি বৃন্দাবন, রূপ রঘুনাথ পরে হইবে আকুটি, কবে হামা বুঝা বসি যুগল পরিতি।
Wonderful. Thank you. So go ahead. Continue to read.
Thank you, Guruji.
Yeah, read.
When will there be eruptions on my body as soon as I chant the name of Lord Chaitanya? And when will there be incessant torrents of tears as soon as I chant the holy names Hare Krishna? When will Lord Nityananda be merciful towards me and free me from all desires for material enjoyment? When will my mind be completely freed from all contamination of desires for material pleasure? Only at that time will it be possible for me to understand Vrindavan. Only if I become attached to the instructions given by the six Goswamis, headed by Rupa Goswami and Raghunath Das Goswami, will it be possible for me to understand the conjugal love of Radha Krishna. By attachment to the devotional service of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, one immediately comes to the ecstatic position. When he develops his love for Nityananda Prabhu, he is freed from all the attachment to the material world, and at that time he becomes eligible to understand the Lord's pastime in Vrindavan. In that condition, when one develops his love for the six Goswamis, he can understand the conjugal love between Radha and Krishna. These are the different stages of a pure devotee's promotion to conjugal love in the service of Radha and Krishna in an intimate relationship with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Yeah, thank you so much. Okay,
Thank you,
so
Prabhu.
what I'll try to do is I'll go back to the bhajan and retranslate this line by line, because this is a very, very important bhajan that we should all actually know this one, if possible, memorize, and except for me, learn how to sing it. Okay, so Gauranga bolite hobe pulak sharir. So once again, if you go back to the translation, when will there be eruptions, which are symptoms of ecstasy, on my body, as soon as I chant the name of Lord Chaitanya? Okay, and the second line is Hari Hari Bolite Nayane Bahe Niva. So when will there be incessant torrents of tears as soon as I chant the holy names of Hare Krishna, of names Hare Krishna? So what does it remind you of Sikshashtakam? What verse? Okay.
नयनम गलदर्शाद
हाँ,
नयनम गलदर्शुधार्य
Badanam Gadgad Ridhiya Gira.
निजितम बपु पदार्थ नाम ग्रहणे
So that's
भविष्य.
exactly word for word translation of this, right? When will my eyes be filled with the tears? When will my throat be choked? When will my hairs will stand on end? When I hear or chant the name Hare Krishna. So it's totally consistent. So that is the first stage of becoming a pure devotee. So again, if you go back to Shikshashtakam, how did Lord Chaitanya get to this stage? He's talking about pure devotee who starts to develop the symptoms of ecstasy, including tears in the eyes and choking of the voice and hair standing on end. So start with the first verse of that Shikshashtakam says, so last line being Shri Krishna Param Ujayate Shri Krishna Sankirtana. So we start by chanting the holy name of the Lord. But that's the offensive stage. Then Chaitanya Marjanam process happens, which means we are becoming cleansed, and our consciousness becoming clarified. That's the first verse. Then we come to the stage, the second verse, after talking about how all the energies of the Lord have been vested in the holy name. It says, Durdevam idasham ihajani na anuraga. Then we come to the stage where we say, but I don't have any love in my heart. In other words, the desire to develop the love of Lord develops in the heart. Until then, we are into the 4 Purusharthas. What are the 4 Purusharthas? Anybody knows?
Is it Artha Kama?
Sorry?
Artha Kama?
Dharma, Artha, Kama, and Moksha. So religiosity, making money, having material desires, and desire for liberation, being Sayujya Mukti, merging in the Brahman effulgence. But now we start to understand that's useless. As a devotee, we don't want any of that. But we want Pancham Purusharth. What's Pancham Purusharth?
Bhakti, love for God.
Okay, love of Krishna. So that's Pancham Purusharth. So now we say, forget the first 4, we want the Pancham Purusharth, we want the love of Krishna. And then we realize, oh my God, I don't have love of Krishna in my heart. So then Lord Chaitanya talks about the 3rd verse. How do you develop it? What's the 3rd one?
नादपि सुनिचेन करोरपि
Krishna.
सुहिष्णुना मानिना मानदेन कीर्तनया सदा हरि.
Very nice. So Lord Chaitanya is saying, develop the mood of humility. Be more tolerant, or as tolerant as the tree. But even more important than that, become amanina. What does amanina mean?
You don't have to accept, but you have to give.
No, just one word. Amanina. What does amanina mean?
One
Not
doesn't
expecting.
deserve.
False prestige, isn't it?
No, not expecting respect.
Not
from
expecting.
No.
not demanding, not expecting. And then manadina, but giving respect to everybody as if everybody's pure devotee.
No ego.
Huh?
No ego.
No ego, of course. Of course. So respecting everybody as if they are pure devotees. And then in that mood, chant. How often? Kirtaniya Sadahari. Not 2 rounds, not 4 rounds, not 16 rounds, not 64 rounds, and then 92 rounds plus. Okay. Then you will understand that your material attachments are going away. And the 4th one comes in, na dhanam, na janam, na sundarim, kavitava jagdish kamaya. And not even moksha. Mam janmati janmeshwar bhakti bhakti. So all I want now is pure, unalloyed devotional service unto the lotus feet of the Lord. But why am I doing this? I have one desire. I do have one desire. That's the 5th one. What is it, the 5th one? I nanda tanuja. Kinkaram mam. Te shame bhavam budham. Kripiya tava pat pankaj sthit dhul sadrasya vichintai. He says that please consider me as your servant who has fallen into the material ocean. And pick me up and consider me a speck of dust on your lotus feet. That's my position. So now we come to that stage. Pure devotee has come to that stage. Now that pure devotee develops the center of ecstasy that's being talked about in the first verse. Gauranga bolte hobe pula ka sharir. What is that? We talked about that. Nanam kalat vasudharya badnam gadgadhya. Vulkanista bapukada tav naam grahane achari. So that is the stage of the first verse in this bhajan. Are you all with me? Okay, everybody please mute yourself, otherwise this...
It's so nice explanation. We never thought in that line. Even we recite Shikshashkam, but nicely, every first, second, it has got a profound meaning, how gradually it develops.
Right, exactly. Okay, so now let's go to what's the next stage? Let's go there. Ar kabe nitai chand karuna karibe. Sansar vasna mor kabe tuchh hobe. So actually, this is also the 4th verse. If I start serving Lord Nityanand, then all my material desires go away. So when will that happen? Okay. So it says, when will my mind be completely freed from all contamination of desire for material pleasure? Okay. So why is that necessary? Now, 3rd one tells you about that. Let's go to the 3rd one. Vishay chhadiya kabe shuddha hobe mana. When will my material desires go away and my mind will be purified? Kabe hame herebe Shri Vrindavan. Then and then only I can see Vrindavan. Otherwise, I see the streets, the gutter, and the dust, and the bad people, and all that. That's all we see. But when our mind is purified, Shuddha hobe mana. My mind is purified. Then I see the transcendental Vrindavan. Okay, everybody with me? Only at that time will it be possible for me to understand Vrindavan. Now, there's a next stage. That's not enough. Next stage. Rupa Raghunatha Pade Hoibe Akuti. Kabhi Hama Bujibo Shi Yugal Pirit. Only when I study the books of Rupa Goswami and Raghunath Das Goswami, only when I understand the instructions, then and then only I'll be able to understand the conjugal loving relationship between Radha and Krishna. Then I'll be able to understand Madhurya Ras. So that's the gradual evolution of a karmi to a jnani, to a yogi, to a bhakta, then pure bhakta, and then confidential bhakta. Okay, are you with me all of you? If not,
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes,
Yes,
Prabhu.
let me just see something I was thinking about. 1 second. How do I? How do I get to the? Oh, okay. No, just give me a
So
minute.
what you just explained, is it not a gradual process, anyways, to grow in bhakti?
Yeah, it's exactly.
It's
It's the way to increase your Krishna consciousness. Exactly right. Okay. All right. Anyway, so I can't find it. So that's all. So this is one more time. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, so the question comes here as you give gradually karma, jnana, bhakti, and confidential. So if you look at all those are confidential, they are they are only sakis, in that category, sakis, manjaris. They are not beyond that.
Madhuri Ras. That's exactly right. Only they are Madhuri Ras. Everybody has something else. Right?
Okay, yeah. Thank you.
Okay, so BG 6. So in chapter 6 also, Lord Krishna tells Arjun, he says, Tapasvibhyo adhiko yogi, jnanibhyo piyamato adhikaha, karmibhyascha adhiko yogi, tasmad yogi bho Arjuna. He's telling Arjun, a yogi is greater than ascetic, greater than the empiricist, and greater than the fruity worker. Therefore, Arjuna, be a yogi. And this just before it tells Arjun that yogi nama sarvesham madgate nataratna shraddhavan bhajate yomam samayukta tamambata. That bhakti yogi is the highest. So stop being karmi, stop being jnani, stop being yogi, move above all that to bhakti. But what kind of bhakti?
Prema bhakti.
Madgaten antaratma. You're always absorbed in me, prema bhakti. Okay? And then prema bhakti has divisions that we just talked about. Unalloyed and confidential. Is everybody confused?
No.
Okay. Let's read the last half of that paragraph one more time. Okay. I'm reading from by attachment to the devotional service of Lord Chaitanya. Is everybody there? Everybody there?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, Prabhu.
See. By attachment to the devotional service of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, one immediately comes to the ecstatic position that we just talked about, the hair standing on end. Okay. When he develops his love for Nityanand Prabhu, is freed from all attachment to the material world. So that's where Vishaya Vasana is going out, right? And at that time he becomes eligible to understand the Lord's pastime in Vrindavan. So now we understand Vrindavan. That in that condition, when one develops the love for his 6 Goswamis, he can understand the conjugal love between Radha and Krishna. Okay, so sometimes we don't understand how important the 6 Goswamis are in our life. They are it. They are the ultimate. Okay, so they are very, very important, the 6 Goswamis in our life. We want to make progress. And certainly, if we want to go the real thing, we need to take complete shelter of them. And we should every once in a while recite the 6 Goswami Ashtakam by Srinivasacharya. It's a wonderful, wonderful bhajan. It really tells you who they are, what they did. Okay. Any questions or comments? Okay. Then we go to
Prabhuji,
Huh.
Just so always we talk of six Goswamis, they are no doubt, but we see also Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati, Bhakti, they are, he's equal in that line, Bhakti Vinod Thakur, right? He has written so many things, Prabhuji. So because he read to his Jaiva Dharma, how he takes it Madhurya, not only we see in Chaitanya Charitamrita Ramananda Rai. He says understanding love between Radha and Krishna is the highest, right? That's what we come Ramananda Rai description. But Jaiva Dharma, he goes further into that, and he says that not only understand the love between Radha and Krishna, but to participate one of the kunj where the pastimes are happening between Radha and Krishna with the Sakhis and there, that is the highest, that is what he talks about. So he elevates us gradually to that level, Bhakti Vinod Thakur.
Yeah, absolutely. So the last line here in this particular bhajan, Kabir Hama Bhujibo Shiyugal Puriti, that is participating in the pastimes of Lord Krishna. So that is in both ways, that's the highest stage.
Okay.
And
Okay, Prabhuji.
also another way of doing this is that as your chanting becomes pure, no offenses, no cleansing, no rasabhas and all that, then as the purity increases, the holy name starts to show itself in its form. Then as it gets deeper and more pure, you shall see the qualities of the Lord. The qualities of the Lord, you see the dham. You see the dham, you see the pastimes. Okay, so that's sequence there. So again, same thing, but the sequence is still there.
Yeah, thank you, Prabhuji.
Anybody else?
Prabhuji, is it that's why like six Goswamis could see the Leelas?
Who could see?
Like all the six Goswamis and
Yes.
all the pure
All
devotees,
the
they
pure
could see them.
devotees, they're able to see the Leela, and that's when they write it. Nobody makes it up.
Yes.
It is not a fiction, it's nobody's imagination, it's nobody's mental concoction. It's when they get the vision, then they write. So whatever we see or read, is all true. It's not a poet's imagination. It's not metaphors. They actually happened, they saw it, and that's when they wrote it. And as a proof, there's a very, very famous story about Rupa Goswami writing in a book that Radharani's hair resembles a snake.
Yes.
You all know the story? Okay, then I won't bother telling you. But the point is, so he saw it. And Sanatana Goswami challenged it. Then Sanatana Goswami saw it. And then he said, no, it's okay, you can write it. So they never made things up. They only wrote what they saw. With his pastimes or forms or features or whatever.
Prabhuji, sorry to interrupt you.
No, don't interrupt. Do it.
This question used to come to my mind when I used to look at Bhagavatam, and then all the pictures given very clearly. Krishna is shown with all the jewelry, and then the princesses, the Rukmaniji and Radharani. And I was wondering who has seen all these that they have put
Yeah,
it.
they have seen.
That means all the Leelas have been shown to all the acharyas. That's
Well,
what.
no, not all to all, but some to some. And between them all is all. So this is why different Goswamis have written different pastimes. Other acharyas have written different pastimes. So nobody's getting all of them. They're all getting their share. That's it. But when you combine them, then you get a lot.
Hmm. Okay, Prabhuji, yeah. Interesting.
Yeah. Okay, texts 18 and 19. Jasaba loya prabhur nitya bihar, jasaba loya prabhur kirtan prachar, jasaba loya kare prema aswadan, jasaba loya dan kare prema dhan. Now it's becoming really interesting. Okay, translation. The internal devotees or potencies are all eternal associates in the pastimes of the Lord. So that's the other one. The internal devotees are eternal devotees. They're not those who have been promoted. They are actually always been there. Ditya Siddhas. Okay. Only with them does the Lord advent to propound the Sankirtan movement. Only with them does the Lord taste the mellows of conjugal love. And only with them does he distribute the love of God to people in general. So again, much higher position. is interacting only with the internal devotees, confidential devotees. Doing all this, including the testing of the conjugal love, distributing the love of God to everybody. They're only doing it with them. Okay? So let's read the purport and we'll get better understanding. Let's read the purport.
I can read, Prabhu.
Please go ahead, Mata.
Distinguishing between pure devotees and internal or confidential devotees, Sri Rupa Goswami, in his book Updeshamrita, traces the following gradual process of development. Out of the many thousands of karmis, one is better when he is situated in perfect Vedic knowledge. Out of many such learned scholars and philosophers, one who is actually liberated from material bondage is better. And out of many such persons who are actually liberated, one who is a devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is considered to be the best. Among the many such transcendental lovers of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the gopis are the best. And among the gopis, Srimati Radhika is the best. Srimati Radhika is very dear to Lord Krishna, and similarly, her ponds, namely Shama Kund and Radha Kund, are also very dear to the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
This is a direct translation of letter instruction, verse 10. I'm going to share that with you so everybody can see it. Okay. Can you see? Karmibhya parito hare pritaya bhaktim vayurjaninas tebhyo jnani vimukta bhakti parma prema eknishthastatah tebhyastah pashupalpan pankaja drashastabhyopi saradhika prishtha tavad iyam tadiya sarasitam nashrayet kah krita kriti. Translation. Someone else read the translation?
I can read, Prabhuji.
Please go ahead.
In the Shastra, it is said that of all types of fruity workers, he who is advanced in knowledge of the higher values of life is favored by the Supreme Lord Hari. Out of many such people who are advanced in knowledge, Gyanis, one who is practically liberated by virtue of his knowledge may take to devotional service. He is superior to the others. However, one who has actually attained prema, pure love of Krishna, is superior to him. The gopis are exalted above all the advanced devotees because they are always totally dependent upon Krishna, Sri Krishna, the transcendental cowherd boy. Among the gopis, Rani is the most dear to Krishna. Her Kunda, lake, is as profoundly dear to Lord Krishna as this most beloved of the gopis. Who, then, will not reside at Radha Kunda and in a spiritual body surcharged with ecstatic devotional feelings, Aprakrita Bhava, render loving service to the divine couple, Shri Radha Govinda, who perform their Ashtakalya Lila, their eternal eightfold daily pastimes. Indeed, those who execute devotional service on the banks of Radhakund are the most fortunate people in the universe.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. So again, this is literally translation of that verse from Nectar of Instruction, basically giving the hierarchy from the karmi to the jnani to the yogi to the bhakta to premi bhakta to the gopis to Radharani, and then Radharani, the Kunda of Radharani, same level as Radharani herself. Okay, so that's your classification of the different devotees. Okay, and they're all very dear to the Lord. So let's read the next paragraph. Any takers?
I can read, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Mataji.
Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur comments in his Anubhashya that among the 5 tattvas, 2 are energies, Shakti tattva, and 3 others are energetic, Shaktiman tattva. Unalloyed and internal devotees are both engaged in the favorable culture of Krishna consciousness, untinged by philosophical speculation or fruitive activities. They are all understood to be pure devotees, and those among them who simply engage in conjugal love are called Madhurya Bhaktas or internal devotees. The loving services in parental love, fraternity, and servitude are included in conjugal love of God. In conclusion, therefore, every confidential devotee is a pure devotee of the Lord.
Yeah. So let's make sure that everybody understands. So he talks about among the 5 tattvas, right? 5 tattvas, they were, what were the 5 tattvas? Somebody wants to name them?
Chaitanya Mahaprabhu,
No,
Nityanand.
names of the tattvas.
Oh,
So Ishwar tattva, Chaitanya
Jeev
Mahaprabhu.
Tattva.
oh, yeah.
Sorry, bro?
Jeev Tattva,
Jeev Tat.
Tattva, who's that?
living beings.
No, but who's that in the Panch Tattva?
Oh, in Pancha Tattva. Uh,
It was Shiva's Thakur, no?
Shiva Thakur, yes, okay. That's 2.
Shakti
There's
Tattva, Radharani.
Shakti Tattva, who was that?
Gadadhar Pandit.
Radharani,
Okay, that's
Gadadhar
3.
Pandit. Yeah.
3. And then?
There's the Shaktiman.
No.
No, it was Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Well, Chaitanya, we already talked about Ish Tattva, Ishwar Tattva. We already talked about
Oh,
it.
yes.
So then, there are 2 left. Who are the 2 people who are left?
Nityanand Prabhu and
Who's that? Who's
Shiv.
Nityananda Prabhu?
Vaitacharya is left.
Okay, so who's Advaitacharya? Who's Prakash? Who's Nityananda? That's a Tattva.
Vishnu Tattva.
No, they're all Vishnu, all 3 are Vishnu Tattvas. So, Prabhu, this is what, the only reason I'm asking you is that this has to be get into your head completely.
I
What is in
know.
your sleep?
One is Narad Muni.
Well, we already talked about that.
Bhakti.
We already talked about that. Shiva's book.
Oh, there was
Anyway, so Avatar Tattva is Advaitacharya, Prakash Tattva is Nityananda, expansion. So please memorize it, write it down 10 times. You can talk about this in your sleep. That's the stage you should be at. And we're spending a lot of time. 7 chapters, very long chapter. I'm spending a lot of time on the same points again and again. So please memorize it. Please speak in your sleep.
Prabhuji, could you please repeat it once again?
Of course. So firstly, Ishwar Tattva,
Ishwar.
right? And who's that? That's your Lord
Chaitanya
Chaitanya,
Mahaprabhu.
right? Then it is Prakash Tattva, or Swarup Tattva, if you want to call it. So Swarup Tattva is Lord Nityananda, the first expansion. Okay? Then it's your Avatar Tattva. And that is your Lord Advaitacharya. Right? Then you have Shakti Tattva. That's your Gadadhar Pandit, big expression of Radharani. And then you have Shiva's Thakur as the Bhakta Tattva, who is the expansion of Narad Muni. So there will be quiz next week.
Ishwar. Ishwar.
Okay? So
Prabhu, what relevance of Avatar Tattva and Advaitacharya? Like
they said
how?
Advaitacharya is the Avatar Tattva. Is the incarnation. No?
How?
How? Remember we talked about how is the expansion of Arudhaksha Vishnu and Sadashiv?
Mm-hmm.
So that's how his incarnation.
Okay. Makes sense.
Okay. So now in the first, second line actually, it says, among the 5 tattvas, 2 are energies. Who there are 2 and what energies are they talking about?
Gadadhar
Okay.
and Shrivas.
Okay. And which tattvas are they?
Bhakta Tattva is Shrivas
Okay.
and Gadadhar
Are
is.
you reading your notes?
No.
Okay.
Right now I read something.
Okay. No problem. No problem.
And Gadadhar was like the energy Tattva.
Yeah. Okay. So Jeev Tattva is the marginal potency, and Shakti Tattva, that's the internal potency. Okay. And then 3 others are energetic, Shaktiman Tattvas. Who are the 3 others Shaktiman Tattvas?
First one is Ishwar Tattva is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Okay.
And Avatar Tattva is Advaitacharya.
Okay.
And this
Swarup Tattva.
Nityananda Prabhu, he is Prakash Tattva.
Prakash Tattva or Swarup Tattva?
So
Okay.
you said both are same, I think. Prakash Tattva and Swarup Tattva, no?
That's what I'm saying. Prakash Tattva or Swarup Tattva, whichever one you want to use.
Yeah.
Okay. So now what makes them energetic Tattva or Shaktiman Tattva? Why are they Shaktiman Tattva?
Because they're expansions of the Lord Himself or the Lord Himself.
Sorry, say again?
Sorry, because they're the Lord Himself or expansions of Him.
Right, exactly. They're Vishnu Tattvas. That's why they're Shaktiman Tattva. Okay. Are we clear this time?
We might forget the tattvas again, bro.
I'm going to ask you again next week. You've been warned.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So then it says unalloyed and internal devotees are both engaged in the favorable culture of Krishna consciousness, untinged by philosophical speculation or fruitive activities. So what verse from Nectar of Devotion does it remind you of? A very famous verse. Very, very famous verse. Should I say, you say, yeah, I knew that.
Anya Bilashita?
Yes,
Anyabhilashita
yes,
Shunyam,
exactly. Exactly. So please say the first two lines so we can see how it's connected. Anya Abhlashta Shunyam.
Anyabhilashita
Dhyan
Shunyam
Karmani
Jnana Karmadhinavritam
Right.
Anukuliyana Krishnanu Shilanam Bhaktir Uttama.
Hari Bol, very nice. Tittipta. So that's exactly what's saying here, just translating it that verse. They're favorable means anukuli, and they are devoid of any philosophical speculation or fruitive activities. That's what makes it pure. Otherwise, it's impure. Okay? And then again, it says that those who are in conjugal mood, they are not confidential or internal, others are just pure devotees. Okay, that's what this. Okay, then it says, third paragraph, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu enjoys pastimes with his immediate expansion, Nityananda Prabhu, his pure devotees, and his three Purush incarnations, namely Karmadasha Vishnu, Chidasha Vishnu, always accompany the Supreme Lord to propound the Sankirtan movement. Okay, so he's doing this with his associates. He's going and spreading the movement. Okay, let's go to number 20. It's 21. Sai panch tattva mili prithvi asiya, पूर्व प्रेम भांडारे रे मुद्रा उघाड़िया, पांच मिली लूटे प्रेम करे आस्वादन, जत जत पिए कृष्णा बढ़े अनुक्षण. This is the purpose of Lord Chaitanya's appearance. So let's pay attention to these two verses. This is why he came. Okay? Translation. The characteristics of Krishna are understood to be a storehouse of transcendental love. Although that storehouse of love certainly came with Krishna, when he was present, it was sealed, door locked shut. But when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came with his associates of the Panch Tattva, they broke the seal and plundered the storehouse to taste the transcendental love of Krishna. The more they tasted it, the more the thirst for it grew. So let's see the purport, then we'll explain it. This is the purpose. This is it. This is it. If you want to know why Lord Chaitanya came, text 2021, chapter 7. So let's read the purport. Who wants to read it?
Can I read, Prabhu?
Please, go ahead.
Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is called Mahavadanyaya Avatar because although he is Sri Krishna himself, he is even more favorably disposed to the poor fallen souls than Lord Sri Krishna. When Lord Sri Krishna himself was personally present, he demanded that everyone surrender unto him and promised that he would then give one all protection. But when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to this earth with his associates, he simply distributed transcendental love of God without discrimination. Sri Rupa Goswami therefore could understand that Lord Chaitanya was none other than Sri Krishna himself. For no one but the Supreme Personality of Godhead can distribute confidential love of the Supreme Person.
Okay. So let's do the last line first. So Rupa Goswami understood Lord Chaitanya Krishna himself. How? Because only Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, can distribute confidential love of that Supreme God. So in other words, if you don't have $10 million, how can you give it to me? How can you give me something you don't have? So therefore, only the one who has the confidential love of Krishna in his heart can give out confident love of Krishna to other people. So that's the one point. Let's go back to the beginning now. Lord Chaitanya is called Mahavadanya. What does Mahavadanya mean?
Most giving.
Huh?
Most.
Biggest person giving all the things.
Most merciful.
Most merciful.
Yes.
Merciful.
Most merciful.
Properly. Yeah.
So his most merciful avatar incarnation. Why? Because he is even more favorably disposed to the poor fallen souls than Lord Shri Krishna. Now, how's that? He's more favorably disposed than Lord Krishna himself. How? Now he says, when Lord Krishna was present, he demanded, what did he demand? In 1866, what did Lord Chaitanya demand, Lord Krishna demand from everybody?
Sarvadharman Parityajya.
To me.
Yeah, exactly.
Mamekam Sharanam Vraja.
Sarvadharman Parityajya, that's the demand. Sarvadharman Parityajya, Mamekam Sharanam Vraja. Two demands. Give up all other religiosities. Give up all your other duties. Simply surrender to me. Two conditions. You don't want to do that? Forget it. And even if you do those two things, it's not guaranteeing any love. What's he saying I will do?
I will protect.
Aham tvam sar papebhyo mokshashami.
I simply take away your sins.
Yeah.
See, don't worry. Well, what does that do for me? Right? Are you with me? That's all he's promising. You give up everything else, surrender to me, then I'll take care of your karmas. Okay, Krishna, what? Now what? Right? But he stopped there. He didn't promise anything beyond that. I'll just take care of you. Don't worry. But Lord Chaitanya is saying, no. Hold on. I'm going to go beyond that. Beyond that. Would he say? I will give you the transcendental love of God without discrimination. You may be young, you may be old, you may be male, you may be female, you may be American, Indian, Canadian, whatever. You may be poor, you may be rich. You may be real sinner. Like who can be more sinner than Jagai Madhai? But I'll give you love of Krishna anyway. So Rupa Goswami said, he's doing it without discrimination. Therefore, he is most merciful. More merciful than Krishna. Okay. So now, purport doesn't really talk about exactly the verses. So I want to go back to the verses. So imagine a storehouse. What is it full of, according to this verse?
Love.
Love of Krishna. Right? Now, how full was Krishna and Radharani? Full of love. So it says, Krishna Prem Mayi Radha, Radha Prem Mayi Hare. Radharani is actually made of love. We are made of bone, marrow, and blood, and pus, and stool, and all those kind of things. She's made of nothing but love for Krishna. Premamai. Krishna Premamai. There's nothing there. Nothing else there. Who's Krishna? Radha Premamai. He's nothing but love for Radha. He's happy to leave 3 billion gopis from Ras Lila because Radha is not there anymore. Wherever he goes, Radha is not there. He's looking for her. Right? So though both of them are full of love for each other. The gopis, same way. So when Krishna came, he opened his storehouse full of love. But he didn't sell it, he sealed it. Even if you surrender, all he says, okay, I'll protect you. I'll take care of your karmas. But that's it. The door is locked, sealed, shut. When Lord Chaitanya came, he broke the seal, opened the door, and said, both hands, take it. Just take it. Just all you have to do is come to me. That's it. Take it. Then Nityananda objected. What did Nityananda object? Nityananda said, my dear Lord, you're asking them to come to you. Many don't want to come to you. He says, I'll go to them. So he became even more beneficial. He'll go to them. Right? And then somebody else became even more merciful. That's called Guru. He'll hold you by the ear, pull it, say, come, I'm going to take you. Right? That is what this is about. So beneficial. Even if you don't want it, they'll give it to you. No conditions. Biggest rascals can get it. Biggest sinners can get it. Most fallen can get it. Because you open the storehouse. So once again, please mark it, meditate upon this one. How merciful they are. Okay. 22. पुनः पुनः पियाया हो महामत्त नाचे कांदे हासे गाए जैसे मदमत. Beautiful. She Panchatattva themselves, all five of them, danced again and again. This made it easier to drink nectarian love of Godhead. So this is very interesting. When you're happy, what do you want to do? Dance.
We dance.
When you dance, what happens? You become happy. Right? So similarly, when they danced, they drank the nectarian love of Godhead. But the more they drank, what happened? The more thirsty they got. They danced, they cried, they laughed and chatted like madmen, and in this way they distributed love of Godhead. But no, the next one, it says. Anyway, we'll come to that. The more they drank, they became thirstier they got. Okay. Purport. Who wants to read the purport?
I will read it, Prabhuji.
Please go ahead, Ruchira Mataji.
People generally cannot understand the actual meaning of chanting and dancing. Describing the Goswamis, Sri Srinivas Acharya stated, Krishnot Kirtan Gan Nartan Parau. Not only did Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his associates demonstrate this chanting and dancing, but the six Goswamis also followed in the next generation. The present Krishna consciousness movement follows the same principle, and therefore, simply by chanting and dancing, we have received good responses all over the world. It is to be understood, however, that this chanting and dancing do not belong to this material world. They are actually transcendental activities. For the more one engages in chanting and dancing, the more he can taste the nectar of transcendental love of Godhead.
Yeah. So, Krishnot Kirtan Gan Nartan Parav means we're chanting Krishna's holy name. We're dancing. That's what the devotees are doing. But this chanting and dancing is not from the material world. Golokere Premadhan Harinam Sankirtan. Right? It's coming from Golok Vrindavan. Kali Kale Nam Rupe Krishna Avatar. Krishna has appeared as his holy name. So holy name is not an abstract thing, it's non-different from Krishna. Nam Chintamani, Shri Krishna Chaitanya Ras Vigraha. Purno Shuddho Nityo Mukto Abhinnatvan Nam Namina. The holy name of the Lord is not different from the Lord himself. And just like the Lord, it is complete, it is purifying, it is eternal, and it's eternally liberated. And do the same thing for you, chant the holy name. Right? So that is what they're giving away. Something they brought with them from the spiritual world. And they're giving it to the people in the material world freely. Freely. Okay, they're actually transcendental activities, dancing and singing. For the more one engages in chanting and dancing, the more he can taste the nectarian transcendental love of God. I've had so many people tell me, I don't understand why the devotees look so happy in the temple. That's because chanting and dancing. As simple as that. It's not from the material world, coming from the spiritual world. Therefore, it's pure. And therefore, the happiness caused by that is pure. Okay? Then it goes on, 23. Patra apatra vichar nahi, nahi sthan sthan. Jai jaha paye taha kare premadan. In distributing love of Godhead, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his associates did not consider who was a fit candidate and who was not, nor where such distribution should or should not take place. They made no conditions. Wherever they got the opportunity, the members of the Panchatattva distributed love of Godhead. So Lord Chaitanya was actually asked by Lord Chaitanya asked Lord Nityanand to go to places where he cannot go because he's sannyasi. So can you name some of the places Lord Chaitanya would not go, could not go because he was sannyasi?
Grahastha's place, Prabhu?
I'm sorry?
Grasthas houses.
So what houses?
To the Grasthas.
Oh, Grasta, yes. Yes. What else? So,
Bars.
I'm sorry, bars, yes, absolutely. What else? Brothels. These are the places he will not go. Like Chaitanya said, you're an Avadhut, you go. And he will go. I personally know people in Toronto who would go to the bars in Toronto and distribute books very successfully. So there's no consideration of what place you're going. You're distributing Lord's name, go anywhere. Who you're distributing it to, doesn't matter. Everybody's eligible. And that's what they were doing. Okay, so then Prabhupada has a pet peeve. So let's talk about that with the purport. Who wants to read that?
Shall I read, Prabhuji?
Please, Prabhuji, go ahead.
There are some rascals who dare to speak against the mission of Lord Chaitanya by criticizing the Krishna consciousness movement for accepting Europeans and Americans as Brahmanas and offering them sannyas. But here is an authoritative statement that in the distributing love of Godhead, one should not consider whether the recipients are Europeans, Americans, Hindu, Muslim, etc. The Krishna consciousness movement should be spread wherever possible, and one should accept those who thus become Vaishnavas as being greater than Brahmanas. Hindus or Indians, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu desired that his name be spread in each and every town and village on the surface of the globe. Therefore, when the cult of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is spread all over the world, should those who embrace it not be accepted as Vaishnavas, Brahmanas, and Sannyasis? These foolish arguments are sometimes raised by envious rascals, but Krishna conscious devotees do not care about them. We strictly follow the principles set down by the Panch Tattva. Haribol.
Haribol. Thank you, Prabhu. So, I mean, you all know the story of Srila Prabhupada, which criticized very terribly by his godbrothers and other people in India for initiating the Americans and Europeans because they consider them lectures, which is worse than Shudra. And Prabhupada is saying, look, you have to understand, this verse saying patra apatra vicharnai. Very first three words. Patra apatra vicharnai means don't care about who's the proper recipient, who's not a proper recipient. And no consideration of favorable place and unfavorable place. So if you think America is unfavorable, it doesn't matter. If you think America is not proper recipient, doesn't matter. This verse is saying very clearly. Prabhupada is saying, read this verse and understand. So therefore, anybody is eligible to receive, and the one who accepts it becomes a Brahman or Vaishnava. Sorry, Vaishnava, which is above Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra. Right? A Vaishnava is above the Varnashram. Okay? And once you're Vaishnava, you can get first initiated, second initiated. Therefore, you can be Vaishnava Brahman, Dvija. And you can go on the altar and worship the deities. So this is all totally bona fide, totally by the scriptures. Okay. Text 24. लूटिया खाइया दिया भांडार उजाड़े आश्चर्य भांडार prem शतगुण बाड़े. So translation. Although the members of the Panchatattva plundered the storehouse of love of Godhead and ate and distributed its contents, there was no scarcity. For this wonderful storehouse is so complete that as the love is distributed, the supply increases hundreds of times. The more you give, the more you get. So actually this story, you all know about the Rajasuya Yagya Yudhishthira Maharaj performed. Right? Yes, no?
Yes.
Okay. So Krishna was, of course, there and he was taking care of different assignments of duties. So he knew how envious Duryodhana is of Yudhishthira. But he was invited, so he was there. So he gave him the duty of treasurer. And you would think, why would Krishna give the responsibility for money to somebody who's so envious and totally inimical. But Krishna knew that if I tell Duryodhan to give out the money as much as you want, he will try to empty the treasury. But in his hand, there's a line that says, the more you give, the more you get back. So you give 1, you get 10 back. So sure, go ahead. Give away the whole treasury and 10 times that treasury will come back to Yudhishthira Maharaj. So you go do this. So Duryodhana was very happy and Krishna was smiling. So similarly, we hear about in the battle of Kurukshetra and also the battle that Lord Ram was fighting, that they used to have quivers. Those quivers, in the picture, you see 2 or 3 quivers only. But actually, it didn't matter. As many arrows you take out, that many got filled again. So infinite supply. You've all seen that, right? Somewhere, Mahabharata or Ramayana or somewhere, that quivers never empty. The more arrows you take out, the more come in. So similarly, the more they were plundering the storehouse of love of Godhead, the more love was coming in. And we say that in our usual life also, the more knowledge you give away, the better you understand this. The more you try to give bhakti away to people, the better your consciousness becomes. The more you try to make people Krishna conscious, the better consciousness gets. So the return is very high. It said, giving is better than receiving. Because if you receive, you got what you got. If you give, you got 10 times more than you gave. Okay, that doesn't mean that today you should decide, "Oh, give me something." That doesn't mean that. But the principle is there. Okay? So let's read the purport.
I will read, Prabhuji.
Please go ahead.
Incarnation of Krishna to his disciple that he had himself by giving him all knowledge and was thus spiritually bankrupt. Such a bluffers speak in this way to cheat the public, but actual spiritual consciousness is so perfect that this one perfect that more it is distributed, the more it increases. Bankruptcy is a term that applies in the material world, but the storehouse of love of Godhead in the spiritual world can never be depleted. Krishna is providing for millions and trillions of living entities by supplying all their necessities. And even if all the innumerable living entities wanted to become Krishna conscious, there would be no scarcity of love of Godhead, nor would there be insufficiency in providing for the maintenance. Our Krishna conscious movement was started single handedly, and no one provided for our livelihood. But at present, we are spending hundreds and thousands of dollars all over the world, and the movement is increasing more and more. Thus, there is no question of scarcity. Although jealous persons may be envious, if we stick to our principle and follow in the footsteps of Panchatattva, this movement will go on unchecked for imitations, swamis, sannyasis, religionists, philosophers, and scientists. For it is transcendental to all material consideration. Therefore, those who propagate the Krishna conscious movement should not be afraid of such rascals and fools.
Right.
Hare Krishna. Prabhu.
Yeah. So again, I've already mentioned all these things. There's no such thing as bankruptcy in the spiritual world. The more you give, the more you get to give away again. You keep giving and it keeps coming. And then people giving the example, like I started with 0. Like it is said that he started with 40 rupees, but his son said many, many years later that actually when he came to India, he gave those 40 rupees back to me. So Prabhupada spent 0. From 0, he built 108 temples. Literally hundreds of thousands of dollars, coming and being spent in the Krishna consciousness. And it's being spread all over the world, thousands of people, but still there's no scarcity of Krishna consciousness. Prabhupada did not lose his Krishna consciousness by giving it away. He increased it. And his disciples did not lose their Krishna consciousness by giving it away. They increased it. So that's the beauty of anything spiritual, the love of Godhead, Krishna consciousness, etc. The more you give, the more you get back. Okay. Text 25. उछलेले प्रेम वन्य चौदिक बेड़ाए स्त्री वृद्ध बालक युवा सबारे डुबाए. So again, excuse me, the flood of love of God has swirled in all directions, and thus young men, old men, women, children were all immersed in that inundation. So God, everybody. Let's read the purport. Anybody?
I can read.
Go ahead.
When the contents of the storehouse of love of Godhead is thus distributed, there is a powerful inundation that covers the entire land. In Sridham Mayapur, there is sometimes a great flood after the rainy season. This is an indication that from the birthplace of Lord Chaitanya, the inundation of love of Godhead should be spread all over the world. For this will help everyone, including old men, young men, women, and children. The Krishna consciousness movement of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is so powerful that it can inundate the entire world and interest all classes of men in the subject of love of Godhead.
So again, there's no place in the world, I believe, at this time where Hare Krishna movement is not there, where somebody's not chanting. There's a very famous story about a devotee told the story that he was somewhere in South America in some jungles, and he was book distributor. So he was going there and meeting all these Aboriginal people and really risky places and all that. And he got to a house in literally wilderness, nothing else around that. And so he knocked on the door. Somebody opened it, and behind the person, he saw Radha Krishna picture. So he was shocked. I mean, what's going on? So he started talking, and she invited him in. And then she told this story, amazing story. She said that I used to be an air hostess. And in my plane, one time, your Prabhupada, she didn't say your Prabhupada, Prabhupada came, sat down, and I was serving. Then I saw him take out what looked like, we call it layya. Murmure, is it called? Or mumri, or what do you
Yes,
call it?
Prabhuji, murmure, we call it
Murmure.
murmure.
Yeah. So murmure. Murmure and a little bit of chana.
Mm.
He was eating that. So it was on a plate. So I walked by, saw this, and I grabbed a handful, a fistful, and I ate it. And something happened after I ate that. So I talked to him, and I got the name from him. And then he was wherever he went. And then I got interested, and I started finding out. And then finally I said, I'm going to give up everything else, I'm going to live alone. And here's where I am. As a result of one meeting with Srila Prabhupada, and I chant my rounds all the time. That's all I do. So somebody living somewhere in South America, some in jungle, but chanting the name of the Lord. So everywhere on the land, the name of the Lord is being chanted. All with the effort of one person. But the principle being, you give some, you get back a lot. You keep giving. Okay, 26. सज्जन दुर्जन पंगु जड़ अंधगन प्रेम वन्याय dubail jagater jan. So look at the glories here. The Krishna conscious movement will inundate the entire world and drown everyone, whether one be a gentleman, a rogue, or even lame, invalid, or blind. So it doesn't matter who you are. We got you. Okay, let's read the purport. Who wants to read the purport?
I can
I
read.
read it, Prabhuji.
Okay, one of you is good.
Okay. Here again, it may be emphasized that although jealous rascals protest that Europeans and Americans cannot be given the sacred thread or sannyas, there is no need even to consider whether one is a gentleman or a rogue, because this is a spiritual movement which is not considered with the external body of skin and bones, because it is being properly conducted under the guidance of Panchatattva, strictly following the regulative principles that has nothing to do with external impediments.
That's right. How wonderful Prabhupada has put it. So, all these external impediments apply to external things. But is Krishna consciousness external or internal?
Internal.
Internal?
Both, I think.
Who said both? I think.
I said
Okay, so external or internal or both?
both.
Okay. How is Krishna consciousness external? Tell me.
Because you're trying to propagate the name, the holy name,
No,
all
but
over.
Krishna consciousness, the consciousness, how is it external?
It is internal.
Kirtan is external, I agree. Giving a class is external, I agree. Dancing is external, I agree. Doing art is external, I agree. But how is consciousness external?
Because we're talking about trees and dull matter as well.
No matter who you're talking about, consciousness, how is it external? Consciousness is very much internal, right? Because what's the characteristic of soul? Consciousness. Nothing
Yeah.
else. What's soul? Soul is not external, it's internal. So that's all it is. Consciousness is internal.
Totally internal, Prabhu.
Totally internal.
Yeah.
So,
Right? So
someone,
I'm sorry, go ahead, bro.
sorry, bro, you can continue. I'll go.
No, it's okay. You can ask.
So Prabhu, someone who's experiencing Krishna consciousness will show or exhibit symptoms which are external.
Correct. I agree. The symptoms are external, but the consciousness is internal. And not everybody who's Krishna conscious exhibits or manifests external ecstasy. Some will hide it. And some will show it even when they don't have it. Asahajias. Right? You have all heard about Sahajias. They start to cry, they say, oh, that's laughing, they fall down. But it's all show. But many who are totally Krishna conscious, purely Krishna conscious, they don't show any symptoms. But they don't want to advertise. When they can't help it, they can't help it. That's different. But otherwise, they don't advertise. There's a very famous story about Haridas Thakur. Everybody knows Haridas Thakur?
Yep.
Namacharya. And everybody knew who he was and respected him. So what happened was, one time there was a rascal. He saw that there's a snake in the marketplace, a huge snake. And there was Kirtan Mandali at the same time. So they were chanting and dancing. The snake started dancing with them. Haridas Thakur happened to be in that Kirtan Mandali. Haridas Thakur started dancing with the snake. And for hours they were dancing together. And everybody was very impressed. And at the end of it, everybody asked for obeisances to Haridas Thakur. You're such a great devotee. Even a snake was dancing with you. So the one envious man in that crowd. And he said, well, if simply dancing with the snake gives you respect, then tomorrow I'll dance.
Okay.
So next day, Kirtan Mandali came. Same snake showed up. He started dancing. Now this time, this man goes near the snake, start dancing. Within minutes, the snake was biting him. You know, how dare you come near me, disturb me? And he ran away. So my point is that just because you're dancing and singing doesn't mean you're Krishna conscious. Right? But you could be very Krishna conscious and not sing and dance. So anyway, the point is consciousness is internal, therefore Krishna consciousness is internal. Right? And therefore external impediments cannot check it. Right? Mirabai was given poison.
Yep.
Right? Didn't matter. Ramchandra Khan sent the prostitute to disturb Haridas Thakur. Didn't matter. So external impediments cannot disturb the internal things. Prabhupada is saying all these rascals are putting external impediments in my way. They cannot stop me. Because what I'm doing is internal. The support of the Lord. Right? Okay, I think we should start 9:21 already. So next week we'll start text 27. Any questions or comments?
Comments, Prabhuji. We are enjoying it really.
Yeah, thank you, bro. I'm glad you are.
And you are explaining it so good. Twice when we don't understand.
Thank you, bro. No problem. I'm your servant. That's my job.
We are all your servants. Are you coming to Bhakti Yoga, please?
Thank you. Oh, Mohit, I just saw you.
Prabhuji, I have a question. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. I have a question, like, why are they differentiating between, like, the pure devotees that are internal compared to the Nitya, Nitya, I guess, like
No. So differentiating between pure devotees and internal devotees, confidential devotees.
Okay. Yes.
So they're saying that those who are at the level of Madhurya Ras are confidential devotees or internal devotees. And they're always eternal devotees. The pure devotees may not be eternal devotees. Somebody may have become pure in this lifetime, was a rascal before, right? And they may be in one of the first four mellows. So therefore, they're not at the same level. They're pure, but not the same level. And that's the distinction they're making.
But like all internal confidential devotees are not in Madhurya Ras, right?
No, they're saying that the definition, by definition, the internal confidential devotees are in Madhurya Ras, by definition. Others are pure devotees.
So like people like Yashoda Maya and Nanda Maharaj
They're not
and the
confidential
Gopas.
devotees. They're Vatsalyas. They're pure devotees. They're pure unalloyed devotees.
But they're Nityasats,
Yes.
right? They're like forever.
So again, some pure unalloyed devotees are eternal devotees, some are not. But all confidential internal devotees are eternal devotees. This does.
So people like ourselves who are forever conditioned and we're on this path of bhakti, we can never be confidential devotees.
No, that's correct. By that definition, that is correct. However, the bhajan that we just read by Natam Thakur gives the stages by which we can go through and then become confident devotee, in which case we will not be eternal, but will be. See, the problem is the word eternal is a little confusing. Generally speaking, eternal means no beginning, no end. Right?
Yes.
However, there is a tricky point to that sometimes we become liberated, you become eternal devotee, but starting that point, which means you'll never again fall down. So there are two definitions of eternal. Are you with me, or am I
Where you become, you're either eternal forever or you become eternal.
Correct.
After which point you're eternal.
Correct.
Yeah.
And that's where the confusion comes.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I was going to like. At the end of the day, they're all pure devotees, right?
Correct. They're pure devotees, no question. No question.
Yeah.
But the conversation that Krishna has with Radharani is of a very different nature than the conversation he has with Yashoda Maiya, as you can imagine.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Sure, you're welcome. Good question, by the way. That's a good question. Anybody else?
Prabhuji, I have a quick question. Regarding liberation. This question comes to my mind many a times that let's say if a person is trying for doing the sadhana and giving his or her best shot, but somehow is not able to remember Krishna at the last moment, and he or she has to take birth. So let's say they keep doing it and they take many births and it keeps happening that they're not able to come into pure sadhana, and then they keep falling down. So when this transition period is over and when the Ghor Kalyug starts, wherein the Harinam disappears and there is nobody talking about it, and nobody wants to talk about it, like total adharma is spread out. So Sajivas are transferred to some other material universe where there is a beginning of Chaitanya, Prabhupada has just gone, and like, are they transferred to some other material world, or do they stay in this universe only, those souls?
I don't know. All I know is that Swalpam api dharmasya kayate mahito bhaya. Whatever credits you have got, whatever bhakti you have done, is never destroyed. Whether that happens next year or 10 million years later, I don't know. But it's never destroyed. So one day you will get there. So that's one point. Second point is it says very clearly that if a devotee does not remember Krishna at the moment of death, Krishna will remember him or her.
But
And
this is
take
only for pure devotees, right?
that's what I'm saying. So it all depends on different stages.
Hmm.
But somebody is not pure. So again, if you look at 641 in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 6, text 41,
Hmm.
Krishna says, how does it go? Just give me 1 second. Okay, let me tell you the translation first, then verse will come to my mind. At the end of the life, they go to the planets of demigods, and they enjoy life, and then they come back in the house of a. Can you mute yourself, please? We're talking. Go. Mute yourself. So they enjoy their life in the planet of the demigods, and then they come down in the house of an aristocratic person or devotee, from where they have a chance to start again. If they are a long-time devotee, they take birth in the house of a devotee where they start again. So in your scenario, if Kali has become so ghor, there's no opportunity, they might be promoted to a heavenly kingdom. They enjoy life. And when the time is appropriate, they come back to the house of a devotee and they start again. हया प्राप्य पुण्यकृताम लोकान उषित्वा शाश्वती समा शुचि नाम श्रीमताम गए योग भ्रष्टो अभिजायते 641 642 is yoga नाम
अथवा योगी नाम एव
कुले भवति धीमता
हि दुर्लभ तरतु लोके जन्म
yeah, that's right. Thank you, Mataji. Dhirata loke janma etat drisha. So basically, you either take birth in a devotee's house, yogi's house, or in an aristocratic house from where you can start again. So again, because your question is hypothetical, I have to give you, it could be any of those possibilities. I don't know.
One more question related to the same thing, Prabhuji. When the transition period is over and the Ghor Kalug starts, does the person has to do the same amount of sadhana, like they have to be literally away from all the vices, or there is a concession given as the Kalug proceeds further, when there is more negativity around, and then is there a concession given onto the sadhana?
There's
No.
no concession. There is maybe the process is so simple. Sit somewhere, chant Krishna's name, and what can be simpler than that? So facility may be provided that's easier for you to chant. Right? But there's no concession. The rules don't change.
Rules don't change. Okay. Okay, Prabhuji. One more question, which is out of the context. I was listening to a conversation of a Vaishnava where they mentioned, it is not mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam,